Was it a mistake for Kellen Moore to take the Saints job?
Couple of things. First off, today I'm very lucky man. First it was Eminem, now it's Kimberley sitting in my seat. What's up, girl? I really appreciate you. I appreciate y'all making sure that doggy wasn't sitting in my seat. That's very important to me. I don't want to contaminate it. So now that we got that out the way, let's get down to business here. I'm not usually one to be salty about somebody upgrading. I mean, we're a capitalist society. Get yours. I'm all for it. I don't like this for Kellen Moore. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, let's talk pedigree. You got Frank Reich. You got Shane Steichen. You got Jonathan Gannon. They all were coordinators for the Philadelphia Eagles. How was life once they became head coaches? Not very good. Not very good, okay? That's number one. Even though Gannon and Steichen still got their jobs. That's number one. Number two, I'm looking at the Saints cap situation. They're $54.1 million over the cap for 2025. That's the worst in the National Football League. So you walking into that situation? I don't like that. Okay, that's number two. You going from there to from Jalen Hurts to Derek Carr. Now, I like Derek Carr as a person, okay? And I'm certainly not saying he's a scrub. But the brother got one playoff appearance in 11 years. I'm going to say that again. One playoff appearance in 11 years. One in 11 years. And I'm looking at Alvin Kamara. He's approaching 30. Taysom Hill. Rashid Shaheed. I like Chris Olave, but I'm just saying, I'm looking at the Eagles' offensive line. I'm looking at the dual threat to the wideout spot. I got Saquon Barkley. And you got the coach in Nick Sirianni, like, don't leave. Stay, let's run this back. And I'm leaving for New Orleans under these circumstances. God bless him. He's been a coordinator for 6 years, 4 in Dallas, 1 in Philly, 1 in the Chargers. I get it. Top 3 passing attack in 20 and 2023 for the Eagles and Chargers respectively. Top rushing attack this year. So he adapts to the talent. I get him. He deserves it. I'm not knocking him in terms of he deserves the opportunity. I'm just saying, I wish it was a better situation than New Orleans.
Phoebe, just say you're afraid of a challenge. Just say that. Just say you're afraid of a challenge.
Well, I'm not afraid of a challenge.
Here's
I've accepted challenges all my life.
Which is why I'm very, very surprised by this take of yours, because I haven't heard you say it's a mistake that Aaron Glenn left the Detroit Lions to come and be the head coach of the Jets. I didn't hear you say that.
I got to worry about those opportunities. Ain't too many of those going to get. That's where I was coming from with that, if I'm being honest.
But here's where I got you. Because as a black man, when you know that the opportunities are few and far between, that Jet situation is going to take a lot of work and a lot of patience, something that Woody Johnson doesn't always show. So if you're going to sit up here and say, Kellen Moore, I don't know, I don't love this for you. A lot of these head coaching positions, I don't love for a lot of these guys. But you know as well as anybody that they're only 32. And when you have the opportunity, unless you are going to be in a Ben Johnson type of situation and say, I don't know, my current team needs to pay me more to stay, otherwise you need to go. And I think, Kellen Moore, to your point, this is a huge undertaking. The New Orleans Saints have to show a lot of patience. With that cap space, they got to clear almost $72 million just to get to the salary cap. It is not going to be good. A lot of contracts, a lot of expensive guys, a lot of decisions. But again, if Kellen Moore is given that patience, which they've had Mickey Loomis there forever, right? They've had the same structure there forever. So if they give him that patience, it could work out for him.
Has to take the job. You're 100% right, Kimberly. And I understand Steve's point, but remember, most of these jobs, these are bad teams. Jacksonville's a bad, these aren't great because the good team doesn't need the coach that much because they're always good. These jobs come across because these are bad organizations to a large degree. And the Ben Johnson situation is a little different. The Lions did not win a Super Bowl. They lost in a championship game. He won a Super Bowl. What else is he supposed to do? He got to strike when the iron's hot. He had a great year. So as a result, they come calling. I think you got to take the job. And I understand Stevie's point. It's the Saints, but it is a bad division. Carr's not terrible. It's Carolina, it's Tampa, and it's Atlanta. They should be pretty competitive. They can win 8-9 games. It's not that bad. So from that standpoint, listen, is it ideal? No, but it's a job he had to take.
I would anticipate, with looking ahead at our key contracts that we'd like to address, we'll be all in. I would anticipate we'll be all in.
Okay, so that was Jerry Jones' last offseason. He was anticipating they were going to be all in. And since then, the Cowboys went 7-10. They missed the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. And then they watched their division rival and the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Not great, but that didn't stop Dallas from talking. Take a listen to this now.
I feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we've played them. I don't want to say check the record when they're the guys holding the trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means. But, yeah, very close, especially when you even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us.
Okay, Mark, we're going to focus in on which comment was worse. Was it Jerry Jones saying prior to the season started, we're going to go all in? We know how that turned out.
Yeah.
Or Dak Prescott saying yesterday, we're very close to the Eagles.
Well, Jeff was with me earlier this morning. I'm on record as saying I didn't like the Dak comments only because read the room a little bit. However, the worst comment of the two is Jerry Jones saying we're all in, because Jerry set the expectation for what we thought we were going to see, which is a team all in. A team that understood the division they play in, who understood how the opposing teams in that division operate and conduct business, especially Howie Roseman, retooling every season. And we thought that Jerry Jones would take a real look at his roster, identify holes, hit free agency and say, I have a good team, but I can make it better if I do something I've never done before, which is spend money in free agency. He didn't do that. And then I thought, okay, Jerry will, tackle the draft. He'll get Dak and CD signed up and, for years to come. That happened day one of the NFL season. All of that, he set the standard for why we are asking Dak now, hey, so where do you think your team is? Dak is answering questions that, frankly, Jerry Jones should be answering. Yep. Because everything about this team, all the deficiencies, fall at Jerry Jones' feet.
Agree. I agree with Jerry, and the way that you put it, I couldn't agree more. I think when you think of Dak's response, he is 9-4 against the Eagles. The difference for Dak, he doesn't realize, is it's not just about beating the Eagles in the regular season. It's about playoffs. And that's what Jerry made clear when it was the Mike McCarthy conversation. When Jerry said, I'm all in, but wouldn't pay Derrick Henry $8 million a year or whatever the number was, give me a break, right? Like, you are not all in. When you look at the roster and the deficiencies on the roster that we all were making noise about going into the season, and you're saying I'm all in, and you wait until day one of the season to sign your quarterback to a long-term deal, and CD wasn't much before that. Micah's right around the corner. He did not put his money where his mouth was. So when I look at this, if he was just going to get his team done, okay, say that. Say I'm not going to go. But you knew lining up, you weren't, and you watch Howie Roseman move chess pieces around to continue to add to his roster, and that you don't match that and don't spend the money. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, they're 26th or lower in free agent spending. That is not all in. I don't care how you cut it or want to phrase it. That's not all in.
Well, it's true what y'all saying as it pertains to Jerry Jones and how foolish his comments were. Inconsistent, hypocritical, whatever word you want to do that you find appropriate. I would tell you, however, that Dak Prescott's comments are worse because with Jerry Jones, I have to take into account how he has, is slippage, and I'm worried about what I've seen from him this year in terms of some of the comments that he has made. But nevertheless, his stubborn, egotistical self has found himself in a precarious spot considering how the Cowboys look right now and how they've gone from Mike McCarthy to Brian Schottenheimer, who nobody wanted, but Jerry Jones elevates him to the head coaching job. Fair enough. It doesn't compare to Dak Prescott, and I'm going to tell y'all why. He's the starting quarterback. He's been the starting quarterback for 9 years. And in those 9 years, he has watched a second-round pick go to 2 Super Bowls and just win a Super Bowl title, and a rookie get to an NFC championship game before he has. And he's been there 9 years. He's approaching his 10th season. I'm sorry, we ain't letting that go. fact of the matter is that he's the one out in the field, and we can look at the Dallas Cowboys right now based off of this season, Jeff Saturday, and we could say that. We could do that, Kimberly. But you know what we can't do? We can't ignore the back-to-back 12-5 seasons, where the Dallas Cowboys had some expectations to win at least a couple of playoff games.
Yeah.
I mean, show up at a damn conference championship game. Could you make an appearance? I mean, you don't have to win. I mean, I got to the point, let me stop talking about Super Bowl. Could you make a championship appearance, please? It's been 29 years. I mean, could you do that? Could you make the Final Four of the National, forget the Super Bowl championship. Could you make the Final Four of the NFL? Could you do that once? They ain't done it in damn near 30 years. I mean, come on now. And this quarterback, always looks polished, always saying the right thing, just a paragon of virtue for crying out loud. I don't know whether to call him the Pope or Gandhi. I don't know what to come up with next when it comes to Dak Prescott. But I'll tell you this much, what we not going to call him is a winner. We ain't going to call him that because come postseason time, it hasn't happened. Jalen Hurts has as many Super Bowl appearances as Dak Prescott has playoff wins. So, Kimberly, you can look at me like that, you can fold your arms, and I don't blame you. You understand? Because you're such a sweetheart, and you're such a nice person, and you just look at Dak Prescott, and you want to just think the best of him. Mr. Blue Eyes yourself, I know how you are. That's one of your brethren right there. You're starred in the National Football League. You blocked for champions, okay? See, that's where you get yourself hurt, because you blocked for champions. You covered champions. You protected champions, which means you know when you're dealing with someone who ain't. The fact of the matter is, respectfully, because I know Dak Prescott is no scrub. In all seriousness, I know the brother can ball. But that's what y'all are missing, Kimberly. That's what makes it worse. He can ball. He ain't some scrub. He ain't somebody that's going to nosedive and just can't. I mean, he's not a scrub. He can ball, except when the big moment arrives in the postseason, and then all of a sudden it's an APB out for him.
This is what's wrong.
Come on
Steven.
now.
You're letting your allegiance to Jerry Jones and being on the chopper and being on the yacht. This is where
I haven't been on the yacht yet. I haven't been on the yacht yet. I'm working on it.
Yeah. That's why you're talking about Dak right now. That's why you're talking about Dak right now. You'll get on that yacht.
I'm going to get on that yacht.
Steven, I get you because I was critical earlier today of Dak's comment because it sounds delusional at this point. However, looking at if Jerry Jones is going to be the owner and GM, you cannot let Howie Roseman out-chase you at every single step. Howie Roseman said, hey, you know what I'm going to take from my rival, the Giants? Their best player. I'm going to add it to the stash of great players we already have, and we're going to keep this train moving. Meanwhile, Jerry Jones, your friend, is literally like, you know what? I like that.
Hey. He's inferior. Jerry Jones is inferior to Howie Roseman as an executive. Dak Prescott, it's not about inferiority. It's about panic. There's a difference.
He has not played great in playoffs, but I'll say this. If you look at the rosters that Howie Roseman has put together, because they've been to 3 Super Bowls since Dak's been there. They won one with Nick Foles as a backup quarterback. They lost one and they won one. And you look at this, Howie Roseman puts a incredible roster on the field. That's the bottom line. If you're Jerry Jones, that's what you want to duplicate. You say you're all in. Howie Roseman shows he's all in. He finds a way to do it. Jerry, for some reason, will not.
You ain't making sense, Jeff. I got 9 years of evidence. I got 2 years. I got 9 years of evidence. 9 years.
I will say, after being in the